Dr. Harry Emerson Fosdick, T.L. Lawrence, B.H. Kleiner said that there are three types of people who play the game of life: the spectators, the losers, and the winners. They listed 10 qualities of winners, 5 of which they say are attitudinal, and 5 corresponding actions: positive self-expectancy, positive self-motivation, positive self-image, positive self-direction, positive self-control, positive self-discipline, positive self-esteem, positive self-dimension, positive self-awareness, positive self-projection. On one level, it is difficult to disagree with any of these. They all look and sound reasonable, even though there appears to be some duplication. Self-expectancy, self-image, self-dimension, and self-awareness are all essentially the same thing, as are self-motivation, self-direction, and self-control. In most journals to do with goal achievement, a great deal of emphasis is placed on similar lists. These are the soft skills of goal achievement. They are easy to talk about, but very, very difficult to emulate. Some people are naturally fearful and have a low esteem of themselves. Simply saying that all goal achievers have high esteem misses the point, and might actually not be true. This is especially true of selling. In my own research, I found that high achievers in sales teams are as insecure as low achievers, and in some cases probably more so. It is not unusual to see the qualities listed above as being requisite to a successful selling career, yet I never met anyone who, after having read that these qualities were necessary, was able to acquire them simply by being aware of them. It would be like knowing that to score 50 with one dart on a dartboard, you have to hit the bullseye. Whether you do or not has nothing to do with attitude but with practice. Even luck can play a part. There were times when I played snooker with friends, when for the most part one was hopeless my true form. Every now and then I would pot red. Once in a blue moon I would pot a color. I would nod sagely as I walked around the table to take my next shot, pretending that I had intentionally placed the cue ball in a position for my next shot, whereas the reality was down to divine providence. Yet you never see luck in lists of goal achievers. The response is that achievers make their own luck, and there is a certain truth in that. Self-help, snake oil, the self-improvement urban legends. Dr. Stephen Krauss is particularly dismissive of much of the advice given by the self-improvement industry. He says, the problem with the self-improvement industry is that it is better described as an unregulated Wild West rather than a staid science. He reserves particular disdain for the ubiquitous practice of self-affirmation, such as, day by day, in every way, I am getting better and better. Those of us who remember Frank Spencer, a hapless character in a BBC comedy series, will also recall that despite this incantation on a regular basis, Frank remained unfulfilled in his aims and goals, though not necessarily unhappy. Whilst psychological research demonstrates the benefits of adopting a more optimistic approach to life, goal achievement, and the realization of life's dreams require more than standing in front of the mirror each morning. Krauss goes on to cite empirical studies into the self-help industry and in particular those whose advice is accompanied by such additional tools as self-esteem enhancing tapes. In all of these studies, there were no improved results from the groups trying these methods to placebo-supplied groups. Insofar as goal setting is concerned, Krauss reserves special scorn for such writers and motivational gurus as Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, and Zig Ziglar, who are amongst those who have quoted a 1953 Yale University study into goal setting. The study was supposed to identify 3% of students who had specific written goals for their future, whereas the remaining 97% had no written goals. 20 years later, it appears that the 3% with written goals were worth more financially than the other 97% combined. Krauss said, the study would indeed be a dramatic illustration of the power of goal setting, except for one minor point: it was never conducted. The author of this report, Lawrence Tobick, ends his article on the topic by saying, Research associate Beverly Waters reports that a recent outbreak of articles citing the study in publications as diverse as Dental Economics and Success magazines prompted her to undertake an exhaustive search of Yale alumni archives, where she found no evidence that such a study had ever been conducted. Says Waters, "We are quite confident that the study did not take place. We suspect it is a myth. Not that hard evidence like that has ever stopped the consultant." From his Solana Beach, California office, Vic Johnson, in his book 13 Secrets of World-Class Goal Achievers, refers to the importance of having written goals, saying that writing your goals down is powerful, increasing your chances of success by at least 1000%, according to Brian Tracy. Heron confirms Beverly Waters' experience in that every time she tried to isolate the source of the Yale University research, she was met with something along the lines of, "I heard it from this." Of course, probably the most famous guru of all, and in all likelihood the most successful, is Stephen Covey, who is said to have sold over 20 million books worldwide, the best known of which is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Rather than a list of attributes, Covey's 7 Habits advises us that by adopting these habits, we can become highly effective. The habits are: be proactive, begin with the end in mind, put first things first, think win/win, seek first to understand, then be understood, synergize, sharpen the saw. Do these books work? Does this advice work? Will it work for you? Who's to know is the answer. Essentially, there seems little wrong with any of the advice you will find in self-help books, recordings, and seminars where the rich and famous are willing to share their success with you for the entrance fee. The choice is yours. One thing is for certain, simply having the desire to achieve is not the same as having a plan to succeed. In many lists associated with the requirements for success in selling, you will find the words determination and commitment, and phrases such as positive thinking. Salespeople and gurus are prone to quoting the lines, "Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but soon or late the man who wins is the man who thinks he can," which is often incorrectly attributed to Vince Lombardi. But is positive thinking enough? I think not. One step at a time. Salespeople do not deliberately plan to fail. However, many do fail to plan. The fact is that failure can be mitigated, and success might be a matter of systematic planning. On the other hand, there is no accounting for luck, but is that something you can rely on? Can you remember what it was like when you were a child? Can you remember some of the dreams that you had? What did you want to be, and what happened? As a younger person, what were some of the ambitions that you had that as yet remained unfulfilled? Are there some of those dreams that you've already said quietly to yourself that you will not achieve? What's the reason for that? Time. There's always time. Energy. Some say that energy accomplishes more than genius. Samuel Smiles said that it is not eminent talent that is required to ensure success in any pursuit so much as purpose, not merely power to achieve but the will to labor energetically and perseveringly. His book is a treasure trove of examples of people, ordinary people, who reached the zenith of achievement, not because they were the most talented or had the luckiest breaks, but because they had purpose, determination, and a plan. The trick is in understanding that the energy required and the plans that have to be laid are not great, just more than the next person. The difference between the words ordinary and extraordinary is the little word extra. In order to be successful, and as part of your plan to be successful in life, perhaps you just need to do that little bit extra. A horse does not have to win a race by a mile, just by a nose. Treble 20 on the dartboard, and single 20 are just a wire with the cart. There's a world of difference between first and second, but there might only be a centimeter in distance or a split second in time. George Bernard Shaw said, "The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, make them." Without a plan, your life is like a ship without a rudder. You'll end up where time and tide will take you. The problem is that for most us, getting through each day is enough. For those of you with young children who seem to take up your every waking hour, or a demanding job, or 1,001 other things that fill up your lives, it can be a real effort sometimes to even consider where it is your life is going and whether or not you are happy with the course of it. Actually planning where it is you want your life to go can, at times, seem impossible, when in fact the reality is somewhat different. The Chinese say that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. The journey of the rest of your life is also made up of small steps and small events. Whether you realize it or not, you are constantly in the process of changing, both physically and mentally. You can't stop your body aging, and neither can you stop your mind from acquiring new stimuli. It is what you do with the stimuli that will determine whether your life will change for the better or not. Having said that, most of us are uncomfortable with or even afraid of change. It is the most difficult thing for organizations to do, and it is the greatest source of problems for individuals and within families. Most of us do not like change, and yet it happens all the time. We tend to equate change with uncertainty. What will this mean for me? And faced with uncertainty, most people have a tendency to do nothing. It's natural, but it is also restricting, for without change, things are certain to stay the same. If you are happy with that, then that's good. If not, then you will have to do something about it. You do not have to do a lot, but you do have to do something. Things happen because people make them happen. Things do not happen of their own accord. There's a saying that is, success by the inch is a cinch, by the yard it's hard. Trying to do too much at once is bound to fail. It's too much to take on. Take things a step at a time. Whole part whole in sports. This process is called whole part whole. Sports people and their coaches know that attempting to improve everything in one go is destined to fail, so they work on one thing at a time. By identifying one thing part and improving it, it increases the whole performance. Working out how to achieve a goal means deciding what the first step is, and once you have done that, you can take the first step. It is absolutely certain that without taking the first step, you will not achieve your goal. If I don't run the first mile, there is no chance of winning the marathon. If you don't draft the letter applying for the job, you won't get it. If you fail to telephone the customer for the appointment, you certainly won't make the sale, and your goal of being number one won't happen. People who are goal achievers don't do it in one go. You can't write a book in one sitting. The chances are strongly against becoming rich and famous in 24 hours, and yet some people seem to believe that that is what happens. Goal achievers make it look easy because you only notice the end result. The problem is you might only see the achievement, and we're not around to count the little steps it took. Life has taught us to stand at the winning post to watch winners. Nobody stands at the start line. Winning is all about starting. To achieve a goal, you have to make a start. Take the first step. Decide what you want to do and take the first step. The only way to find out whether you really want to do it is to take the first step. Setting goals is relatively easy. There is a formula which says that your goals have to be achievable, measurable, and meaningful, which is alright as far as it goes. But how do you know whether it's what you really want? Until you start taking the first steps towards your goals, it is difficult to decide whether it is what you want, and more importantly, whether you want to pay the price. The most important thing about goals is that they don't come free. Other people's goals and other people's achievements look alright and look easy until you realize that there is a price to be paid, and you might not like the price. Everything looks alright in the window until you see the price tag. Everything in life is on sale. The difference between goal achievers and non-goal achievers is that the achievers decide to pay the price. Deciding what you want to do and making the first step will bring you face to face with the price tag. It is at this point where you have to ask yourself, is it really what I want to do? Put the picture in your mind of having achieved the goal and ask yourself, am I prepared to pay this price for this goal? It is at this stage that 95% of people will hum and haw about the price and either decide to think about it or decide against it. In fact, they are both the same. If a goal has to be thought about, it is not a goal, it is just a whim. A goal should scream out at you, I am a goal, and price doesn't matter. The price of not achieving a goal may in fact be much greater. The price for not setting goals or not attempting to achieve something in your life could be realizing it when it is too late. For some goals you might run out of time, and there is nothing worse than saying, if only. Yet setting out on the journey is almost as good as getting there. There is a saying that success is about the journey and not the destination. Too much focus on the destination can cause you to lose sight of the treasures on the journey. That's an important lesson. The journey towards a goal can be more exciting than the goal itself. You can learn so much about yourself on the way to achieving a goal that sometimes the goal itself does not matter anymore, but the activity of goal achievement in itself becomes the goal. Doing something to shape the course of your life will in itself make you a better person and will separate you people whose lives are shaped by others. It has been said that life is the pursuit of happiness, whereas I believe that it is about the happiness of pursuit. Another thing is that by taking the first step and by focusing on what you can achieve now, you will start having small successes. Big successes are always as a result and consequence of smaller successes. Weightlifters start with smaller weights first. Show jumpers don't attempt a 6-foot jump straight away. Writers begin each novel with a first page. What is important is to experience success. Once you feel the exhilaration of your first small success, you will want more. Part of your plan to succeed has to be to get some small successes first. In the world of selling, the opportunities for small successes are all around you. Telephoning for an appointment is a small success, but without it, you will never achieve the big one. Getting agreement from your customer that it is worth gathering some facts about them or their business is a small success. Getting a second appointment is a small success. Reaching agreement that your customers have unfulfilled their needs is a small success. Agreeing to do something about it is a small success. Identifying other people whom your customer knows have similar needs is a small success. Getting your customers to introduce you to their acquaintances is a small success. In total, they all add up to what the job is all about simply by taking it a step at a time. The business of setting goals. Goals versus targets. Life for most people in selling is about the achievement of targets. Vince Pest defines a goal as being an objective or target expected to be reached within a fixed date. Should be written down, measurable, and reviewed regularly. Either your line manager sets the target or you had a hand in it, but whichever way it is put together, it has nothing to do with goals. Goals are something else altogether. The achievement of targets may contribute towards a goal, but on their own, targets are more to do with the things that benefit someone else, your manager or the company. There's nothing wrong with that after all, the piper calls the tune. Targets can be an important function of goal achievement, but they should not be confused with goals. Setting goals. You will notice that I refer to goal achievement in the plural. That's because it is important to have more than one goal. Not so many as to make it confusing, but enough to keep you going. It's important to plant a number of seeds in your goals garden. Some of them just won't grow. And if you spend a lifetime waiting for one seed to grow and it doesn't, and you have nothing else to look forward to, you could become disillusioned. I have met a lot of people in the later stages of their lives who seemed only to have one goal, and when they failed to achieve it, they looked back and saw a wasted life from which they were cynically drifting into the future. It's amazing how many people spend more time and energy plotting the course of their holidays than in determining the course of their lives. What is more important, the 2 weeks on the Costa del Sol, the trip to Florida, the world cruise, or the rest of your life? And yet for vast numbers of people, the planning and preparation that goes into it, deciding where to go and be, how to get there, far outstrips deciding the course of their lives and how to get there. In some ways, it's a lot easier to sit back and let someone else row your boat. If things don't work out, you can always blame them. And yet, if you don't know where you are going, don't be sorry when you end up somewhere else. One way to look at life is like a big open sea. You have the choice either to navigate yourself to wherever it is you want to be, or simply to let the current take you. You could end up somewhere nice, you might end up somewhere horrible, and you might even stay where you are. But without taking responsibility, you are not in control, and that's an important thing to consider. Without goals, other people are in control of your life. It's bad enough growing up. Do this, do that. Don't do this, don't do that. Go to school. Pass your exams. Pay attention. Keep quiet. Eat it all up. Don't drink that, it's bad for you. Take this, it's good for you. Rules, laws, regulations, instructions. It's a wonder sometimes that we don't all look like robots. Responsibility life unfortunately teaches us not to be responsible, and that there are plenty of people around who are more than willing to tell us what to do, where to go, and how to live our lives. The first thing to learn about goal achievement is that it is your responsibility, and you have to take charge. Anything that stops you from achieving your goal is your problem. It's up to you to solve it, and only you are accountable. This one rule in itself, if you accept it, will be the most major step you can take towards goal achievement. Every now and then you should take time out and say to yourself, I am in charge of my life. I can achieve whatever I want to achieve. There will already be some of you saying, yes but is the most obstructive thing you can do and say, and you will never achieve your goals unless you get rid of yes but and replace it with yes how. Spending your time working out how to achieve a goal is far more profitable than working out the reasons why you can. In the process of working out how to achieve a goal, you will be surprised how much closer you get to it. If the goal itself becomes all-consuming, then its achievement can be something of a letdown. That's why it is important to update and add to your goals regularly. The things you learn about yourself on the journey can and will have a profound effect on your original goals and aspirations. It's like having a goal to have your own family, a worthy goal on its own. Once you have achieved that, however, it opens up a whole new world of experiences and future aspirations, not only for yourself, but also for other people close to you. When you have your list of goals, check that they are specific, and if some are not, then you should make them so. If you've written down a holiday of a lifetime, say where it is you want to go and for how long. Be specific about how you want to get there and what you want to do when you get there. Will somebody be going with you, and will you be paying for him or her? Will they want to go? What's the reason for the goal? Is it just something that everybody else does, or is it something that you really want to do? This process of focusing on the importance of the goals and the steps of specifying exactly what the parameters are will already give you some ideas about the likelihood of your achieving that goal and how to go about it. Goals should be the things that give your life shape and a purpose. The mere process of identification and taking the first step will put you in charge of your life. It's the easiest and simplest thing in the world to do, and perhaps that's the problem. Because the process is so simple, it seems to be ignored. However, there is something else. You have to do it. In a world where we have been brought up to expect everything to be done for us, it's the people who do things that succeed. Stop thinking about it, do it. The only thing stopping you from achieving your goals is your inertia. Make sure that you have a clear plan of what it is you want to do, and try to stick to this as much as possible. If you deviate too much, then you may find that you have lost sight of your original goal. Planning is an essential part of the salesperson's job. Without a plan of how you are going to reach your goals, you will never reach them. And without a goal, you would never know what you had achieved. Career planning, closely associated with goal setting, is the activity of career planning, and in selling it is always assumed that the natural career path for salespeople is to move into sales management. Indeed, in many traditional sales organizations, managers are encouraged to help top salespeople plan how they can prepare themselves to move into sales management when the opportunity arises. Yet I already know with some certainty that success in a sales role is no guarantee for success in a sales management role, in much the same way that sales success in one company is no guarantee that this success is transferable to another company. Yet the practice continues. Top salespeople tend to be promoted to sales management positions, as the latter is seen to be the accepted progression for anyone who is ambitious in sales. But why? One of the reasons might be that as most people do not choose selling as a career in the first place, perhaps management is something which would satisfy the need for achievement. On the other hand, the assumption that salespeople should aspire to become sales managers seems to imply that being in sales is merely a stopgap for a career in sales management. In fact, I know of many sales organizations who include questions in their initial selection interviews, which are related to establishing management aspirations in new recruits. Yet there's a world of difference between looking solely after yourself and looking after others, as many salespeople have unfortunately learned to their cost. One thing we should perhaps not do is to rely on others to take care of our career aspirations. No matter what size or type of human resources function you might have at your disposal, the only person who really cares about where you end up in your career is probably you. Ask yourself, what do you like most about your job? Will you still be able to do the things you like about your job if you become a sales manager? Then ask yourself, what do you like least about your job? Will there be an increase in the elements you dislike if you become a sales manager? The difficulty is that there are many aspects to a manager's job that you probably have not yet experienced, and by the time you do, it will be too late. Many newly appointed sales managers have expressed the view that if they had known beforehand about the stresses and problems associated with the role of sales management, that they would not have accepted the promotion in the first place. Then there is the issue of the word itself, promotion. Why is becoming a sales manager called promotion? Although we traditionally associate the word with advancement, it also means endorsement and encouragement and elevation. So why can't organizations endorse, elevate and promote the role of salesperson? It is my belief that too many organizations not only foster the belief that advancement is solely through the sales management route, but actively encourage this by paying sales managers more than salespeople and giving them increased benefit packages commensurate with their supposedly more important roles. Yet which role in a company is more important than that of a salesperson? Without salespeople, there would not be any other roles. It is via the sales generated by salespeople that a company can afford everything else.